Hey all, John here, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about the M2 iPad Pro. So I know the M4 iPad is out now, but I recently came back from Europe and I brought this as my main laptop. Of course I brought the S23 Ultra, the 15 Pro Max, and my A7 IV. Brought the two phones because I wanted to compare the battery life between the two, and also the photo quality in portrait mode because I was curious. I know the A7 IV would win, but just wanted to do that anyways. But this iPad was basically my main computer the entire trip, and we're going to talk about what I used it for, and we're going to go from there. So as you can see, I have a new keyboard case. This is the Apple Magic Keyboard. This was actually on Amazon for $150. This keyboard is usually $350, as you guys know, but of course Amazon has a really nice refurbished program, and I was able to pick this up for an amazing deal. This is going to be replacing my Logitech Combo Touch, which I had in the previous video. This is basically a Surface style keyboard, comes apart, and of course I have a aftermarket Apple Pencil holder. But of course I like the Magic Keyboard a lot better because when I'm typing in like commands over terminal, this keyboard is just a lot nicer. So if we just type in something random, so this is a test, you guys might not be able to hear the difference. This is a test. The keyboard feel just feels a lot better on the Magic Keyboard, and the trackpad is like 10 times better. So I'd rather stay native. And of course I have the extra pass-through charging port because this is on the, I forget the pins on the back, the smart connector. But going back to photos, I basically left Adobe back in 2022. Just got tired of paying for Adobe CC, and I don't want to use pirated apps. So Adobe's Lightroom Classic is basically a no-go. Lightroom CC is a no-go. So I tried out Photometer, and I tried out, I think it was Darkroom. I didn't like the two of those apps because they felt overly simplified, and the edits didn't sync across devices. I went on Reddit and I found something called Raw Power. This worked a lot better. It looks almost like a miniature Lightroom because, again, with my wedding photos, I like to cull photos with the starring system. So 1 star is basically something that's rejected. 3 stars is something that I find is usable. And then I do a second pass where I take the 3-star photos and I figure out whether they're gonna be 4 or 5-star photos. 5-star photos are usually used for like covers, for like delivery. But Apple Photos does not have anything like this. It's either a favorite or it's not a favorite. I know the RAW processor is pretty good, but again, I want something I can use to cull, and I want smart albums, and I want to be able to edit. Raw Power is great, but I noticed there's a newer app called Nitro from the same developer. So if you guys go far back enough, there was actually an app called Aperture that Apple made. They cut it off in 2011. It was discontinued before it got kind of merged into the new Photos app we have now. But this guy that developed Nitro was basically on the Aperture team when it existed, and he made his own app, which is now Nitro. And this basically does everything that you would want in Lightroom Classic. I mean, for me, at least on the basic level for culling. It integrates with Apple Photos, which is super nice. So that was another thing, a requirement I had. I just don't want to have Lightroom Classic and then have to export just to move back into my Apple Photos. So with Nitro, you have the option of basically editing directly from your Apple Photos library or from editing from the Apple file system. So if you want to import your camera raw files into the iPad, run them in the Files app, and have the XMP sidecars, you can do that. So another thing that's really nice about this app, it writes those sidecars. So if you do a bunch of culling, you can actually take that, move it into another app like Capture One, and still have all those ratings and have your photos already culled that were on your iPad. So if you don't want to have that 16-inch MacBook Pro being lugged around, you can just edit it, basically cull everything here, and go back home and actually do the final edits. So that is something I really find valuable. But another thing, the main reason I use Nitro, other than of course the Apple Photo support, is because I can take these and send them straight to an Apple shared album. So of course I need a way to share those files without having to go through the export process. So if I update a file, I should be able to upload it straight to up to iCloud and have it ready to see it. So this worked out really well for me. So if we go to the UI, this is still running the screen recording. If I open up a photo here, you can see this is what it looks like. I have my settings on the right here. Let's get out the masking here. So of course I have my usual crop settings, my tone from like exposure changes, enhance for stuff like, again, I always add a little bit of saturation on my photos, but again, this is not something I would use professionally. This is just something I wanted to test, and so far it's been amazing. Something I also found is that this has AI masking, so on the trip, this is something she actually found because we were kind of playing around with editing together, and you can do stuff like this, which I find really cool. My version of Capture One just doesn't have this. So this is something really fun that I discovered. It basically does everything on one of the desktop, but of course it's a lot slower since it's just the M2 Pro versus the M1 Pro. But as far as like as a portable editing machine, I would definitely 100% use this. I'm actually in the process of culling an entire wedding on this before moving it over to Capture One. So that is the first thing. And now, as far as it being a super thin, before I actually jump on, the battery life, I think I can get max 3 hours editing in this specific app. It's kind of bonkers to me, but again, at least it can actually do it. As far as video editing goes, I have not used DaVinci Resolve, so I'm sure that still crashes. It'll probably get better with time. Some people are saying the M4 iPad is a bit more optimized, doesn't crash as much in Resolve. But as far as the thin client goes, I still have my VPN on here. So let's say I go into Terminus. I can log into one of my servers right here. Let me get on the VPN first, actually. So if I go on here, connect to my VPN. Let that connect. I'm on my VPN. I can basically connect to one of my Ubuntu VMs that I have open. So this is actually running PhotoPrism, I think. Oh, image, okay. I don't remember all this on top of my head, but I can basically, it's told to retrieve my IP addresses. I can do maintenance remotely. So let's say I have to take down my image VM. So I can just cd image, come on, there we go. Docker compose down, bring down that container, just a quick update on the container from the repository, and then bring it back up again. I'm typing super fast, so I'm making all these mistakes. And now image is back online. If I go back to here, and let's see, let me open up one of my web pages for Uptime Kuma just to make sure it's online. If I remember the IP address. As you can see, image is up. It went down for a little bit, but it's up. Basic stuff like this can be done on the iPad, no problem whatsoever. It's amazing for that. I don't think I've had any issues with that as far as that goes. Again, my conclusion is that this is still overpriced, but it's at least usable now compared to what I did in my review I think it was a few months ago. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video I'm recording, and let me know if you have any feedback. I can't wait to make more content on YouTube, and we'll see how this goes. We are also about to reach 700 subscribers. We're at 697 as of right now. So I'm going to be joining the first phase of the partner program. So stay tuned for more content.